Welcome back, my friends. So AutoBleem 0.9.0 has been released for the PlayStation Classic, and with it comes a ton of new features. We now have a Linux kernel that allows us to install OTG support, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth. We can now have NTFS and EXFAT formats for our memory with our USB drives. Lots of cool stuff going on here for AutoBleem fans. Because with a lot of this stuff, we would have to do a bunch of workarounds using other hacks in order to get that on AutoBleem. So among that, we also have RetroBoot 1.1 built in with EmulationStation. I think that is huge. So in today's video, we're going to go ahead and install this on a brand new PlayStation Classic. You have to keep in mind, the one thing of note, I'm going to try to keep this and make this as simple as possible so people can follow along. The one thing with this that a lot of people are going to want to do is flashing the new kernel so they can get OTG. Now, you may have already done that with BleemSync and then used AutoBleem instead of BleemSync. You have to keep in mind, if you installed the kernel from BleemSync or Project Eris, you will have to go back to the original stock state of the PlayStation Classic in order to flash this kernel. You can still use AutoBleem 0.9 if you had done those steps previously, so that's fine. But if you have another PlayStation Classic or you never implemented this stuff, you can go about doing that very easily with AutoBleem now. So I think that is really cool. So we're going to go ahead and jump right into that and get it installed. Now, on this page, I will put a link to this because the downloads are all here. Once you go to the download page, you will have a few things you can download. AutoBleem 0.9, AutoBleem 0.9 theme pack, and the Bluetooth. The Bluetooth is obviously for configuring Bluetooth. So you can choose what you want to download as far as the theme packs and the Bluetooth. What you will need is the 0.9.0 folder. Total size is 667 megabytes. The theme pack is just themes that you can add, which is over 1 gigabyte of themes that you can add to your system. Optional. You don't need that. You will need these files, though. And there is a bunch of readmes in here that kind of go over everything. The release notes explaining what everything does, you know, what's included with this version. Like I said, there is a ton of stuff here. We do have some emulators included, Amaberry and Open Boar, which is sweet. Game ports included Doom, Wolfenstein, Tyrion, Prince of Persia, Duke Nukem 3D, and then going down gives you the previous release notes. So a lot of cool stuff here. When you have your USB drive ready to go, if this is going to be the first time you're doing any of this and you don't have OTG support, you're going to need to make sure that your USB drive is named Sony and is in FAT32 format. So in this video, we're doing a fresh install. We're doing everything from scratch. So once you have that USB drive named Sony and it's FAT32 from the AutoBleem 0.9 zip file that you downloaded, you will copy over just these folders, just drag and drop them on over. So once you have that done, we can move on to the next step. So as you see here, I do have my PlayStation Classic ready to go. HDMI is plugged in. I do have my USB drive ready to go. Now, depending upon the USB drive you use, it may not work straight from the second player port. It's just going to depend. Some require more power than others. And if you haven't done the power mod, you may have to use a USB hub. So I do have a powered USB hub here. We're going to go ahead and plug in my USB drive into it and then plug it into the front. If you have an older drive that works, there's tons of them out there that work just fine that you could just plug straight into the second player port. This is only to get everything installed because after that, we are going to be using an OTG cable, as you see here. So one end, we have USB, so we'll be plugging our USB drive in there and just booting up from there. So we're no longer using the second player port. Plugging it into the power in the back and then plugging in our power cable straight into that. So you could also use this USB port to plug in a USB hub, plug in Bluetooth adapter, Wi-Fi, a keyboard, all that good stuff, and have everything coming out from the back instead of the front. So that is what our goal is to get this set up, make sure this works, and then take a look at it. So let's go ahead and get this ready. Now, we have it plugged in. We don't have the power in yet, so we're going to go ahead and plug in power. Once power is plugged in, you'll see that our USB drive or our USB hub has been powered and the system light is orange. So let's go ahead and turn that on. So there we go. First boot up on the fresh system here. It says games have changed. Press X to scan. We don't have any games on here, so it just did that very quickly. Let's go ahead and go into AutoBleem. Press start. So let's go ahead and press select a couple times to get on over to our apps. And what we are looking for is the Kernel Installer. All this other stuff is included on AutoBleem 0.9 now, all these different applications, emulators and stuff. So pretty cool. Let's hit X on the Kernel Installer. It's going to give us some information here. Hit X again. It's going to take a moment to load up, and it's going to give us a few options here. Flash kernel, full backup, or restore mode. So if we flash the kernel, we're adding that to the system. We can go ahead and restore that from this menu as well and go back to stock. In order to do that, we do want to make sure we do a full backup. So we're going to hit square first. This will take a moment. It's going to back it up, throw it onto the USB drive. You will want to keep that just in case. It will be a little lboot file. Okay, so that just took a moment, and now we are ready to flash the kernel. So let's hit X to go back into the installer. Hit X again. Give it a moment, and it will give us those options. Press X to flash, and then it's going to ask us to confirm. Press X to confirm. This shouldn't take too long. It is now done. Screen will go black, and it's going to tell us to replace the power cord because now we have OTG support. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to, you see our light is orange, so the system is powered down. We're going to unplug the power. We're going to unplug our second player port with our USB hub because we no longer need that. So let's remove our drive from that, plug it into the OTG cable. Plug in the OTG cable to the back of the system, as you see there. And now we have to link our power to that. Give it a second. Light should come back on orange. Let's go ahead and power up. Now, if this didn't work, we would still get power, but it wouldn't boot up AutoBleem. So this did work. Awesome. Now, if we hit L1, it's going to give us some options, the game manager, memory cards, hardware information. If you hit square, it'll go to hardware information. Here is where you would set up the Wi-Fi. There's other options for that as well, but it will show you if you do have like a hub plugged into the back with Wi-Fi, Bluetooth adapters, it'll show that information here. So just wanted to point that out. We'll go more in depth on this stuff in the very near future. I know Magnus RC is putting together an image using, or a build using AutoBleem 0.9, and we'll definitely take a look at that when it's ready. I have another build from him, a retro boot only build with EmulationStation that I think is awesome. We'll do another video on that as well. But everything was successful here. Very nice. So if we find retro boot, for example, let's go ahead and go into that. Gives you some information here. Now, once we're into RetroBoot 1.1, we can switch this on over to EmulationStation by going to Applications. So let's go ahead and do that. We don't have anything on here at the moment, but very nice. We have all our options here. You can play with. EmulationStation is really cool. We just have ports right now. So as you see, all the information for that. But really cool. I mean, you could use different themes and whatnot. A lot of stuff that we could do. Let's go ahead and get out of EmulationStation. And now you see it shows EmulationStation. So if we just click on that, it's going to go straight to EmulationStation. And now, on the main screen, when you first boot your system up, since we set EmulationStation, we chose that in the applications on RetroBoot, it now gives us the option from the main screen once you first boot your system up to just hit square to go into EmulationStation. So I think that is really cool stuff. Just straight boots into it. We do have some builds that have a bunch of games on it to demonstrate this. Like I said, we'll take a look at this stuff in another video. And like I said, Magnus is working on a whole build that sounds like it's going to be pretty sweet. So we'll be taking a look at that as well, with different themes and all that good stuff. But I hope this video helped. If you have any questions, drop a comment down below. There is also a lot of help in my Facebook group concerning this kind of stuff. PlayStation Classic is an amazing little mini console that just kind of negates every other mini console out there with how awesome it is. Sucked major butt when it first came out, but with these hacks, especially in my opinion, the AutoBleem team, love what they've been doing. They've been doing a lot of awesome stuff. So hey, appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Drop comments down below. Hit that like button. All helps me out to continue doing what I'm doing. Join that Facebook group for further help. And with that said, I will catch you guys next time. Peace out. Bye-bye. And boom. Bye.